Hello, steady soul of Taurus. Let me ask you something, not in a rush, not with pressure, but with the quiet weight of truth. When you hear the word home, what comes up for you first? Is it the space where you sleep each night, the familiar walls, the comfort of routine, and all the things you've carefully built around you? Or is it something deeper, something harder to name, a sense of belonging that lives not in a place, but in a feeling? Maybe it's not even somewhere you've been yet, but something your soul has always known. A place where you finally exhale and feel fully at peace. Taurus, no one values home the way you do. It's not just about shelter or comfort, it's about stability, grounding, and the space where your spirit can truly rest. But here's a truth you might have been sensing for a while now. Even if you haven't spoken it out loud, your current home is not your forever home. Maybe you felt it in moments of restlessness, in the way the air around you doesn't feel quite right anymore. In the quiet longing for something you can't fully define. The space you're in right now, whether it's a physical house or an emotional state, has served its purpose. It protected you. It supported your growth. It gave you what you needed for a time. But that time is nearing its close. What once felt solid and secure now feels limiting. What once fit your life perfectly now feels tight, like clothes you've outgrown. This isn't about leaving just for the sake of change. You don't chase chaos. You don't abandon what you've built lightly. This is about alignment, about stepping into a space inside and out that reflects who you've become, not who you were. A home that matches your current energy, your values, your truth. One where you don't have to constantly adjust yourself to keep the peace or maintain comfort. A place where comfort comes naturally because it fits, where the energy holds you, supports you, and invites you to live not just safely, but fully. Taurus, you are being called not to let go of everything you've known, but to trust that something better is coming, not because what you have now is wrong, but because who you are now is different. You've grown, and the home that once held you has become too small for the version of you that's ready to emerge. A new space, one that feels more like you, is already on its way. And maybe lately, you felt it, that subtle discomfort, the sense that something just isn't quite right anymore. As if you're going through the motions in a life that no longer fully feels like your own. You look around and realize that while everything might seem stable on the outside, something inside you feels out of place, like you're living in a version of your life that once fit but now feels distant, disconnected. And Taurus, I want you to know this with certainty, that feeling isn't failure. It's not a lack of gratitude or effort. It's not you being ungrateful for what you have built. It's your soul speaking to you in the only language it knows: subtle, steady, persistent. This isn't about discontentment for the sake of change. You've never been one to throw things away just because they're uncomfortable. But the truth is, you've been growing quietly, deeply, and now you've reached the point where what once felt like home now feels like confinement. You may have even tried to silence this feeling, to work harder at making things feel right again, to tell yourself it's just a phase. But the discomfort persists because it's not meant to go away, it's meant to guide you forward. It's a signal not of something breaking, but of something ready to break open. Taurus, you've spent so much time creating stability for others, holding steady in storms, anchoring your world, but now it's time to create stability that also honors you, a space where you don't have to bend, to adapt, or to explain like our common as Evan. A home that meets you where you are, not where you used to be. The version of you that's rising now is ready for more, for alignment, for peace, for quiet joy that doesn't come from controlling your environment, but from being in the right environment. You were never meant to live in someone else's version of life. You were meant to thrive in your own. And the fact that you feel the shift now means your soul is ready to lead you home. That's why this next space, the one quietly calling to you, is not just a new place. It's a new experience of yourself. A space where you don't just function or maintain, but where you truly shine, where you don't have to minimize your needs, your voice, or your presence. Taurus, you were never meant to dim your light to make others comfortable. You were meant to live in alignment with what's real, steady, and soul-nourishing. And that kind of alignment begins with the ground beneath your feet, the space you call home. For Taurus born between the 20th of April and the 30th of April, this shift in environment is deeply tied to your sense of purpose. You may find that your current space no longer supports the work, the vision, or the values that have become central to who you are. The new home will feel like a mirror, reflecting back a version of you that's been evolving quietly for years, a version that's ready to lead, to serve, to create from a place of clarity and authenticity. This move will help you reconnect with what truly matters and let go of obligations that no longer resonate. For Taurus born between May 1st and May 10th, the change will ripple through your relationships. As your space transforms, so will your connections. You may find that certain bonds naturally fade, while others deepen with surprising ease. The new environment will make it clear who truly belongs in your life, who respects your boundaries, your energy, to your heart. It's not about cutting people off. It's about allowing only what aligns to remain. This shift will feel like shedding a heavy coat. You'll finally feel lighter, freer, more open to the kind of love and connection that feels effortless and true. And for Taurus, born between May 11th and May 20th, the new space will awaken something that's been dormant, your creativity, not just in the artistic sense, but in the way you think, problem solve, express, and imagine your life. You may have spent years focusing on stability, survival, and taking care of others, but now your soul wants to create. The right environment will unlock that part of you again, the part that dreams, plays, designs, and builds with joy. In this space, you won't just be living, you'll be thriving. But no matter your birth date, Taurus, one truth holds. You are being guided to a space where you no longer have to choose between safety and authenticity. You can have both. And in that space, you will remember what it feels like to come home, not just to a place, but to yourself. And maybe, Taurus, you've already seen glimpses of it long before you had the words for what you were seeking. In childhood dreams that came out of nowhere, in sketches you once made of houses with wide open windows and gardens filled with light, in memories that don't quite belong to any real place you've been, but still feel familiar. Perhaps you've always been drawn to certain landscapes, certain homes, certain corners of the world that stir something deep inside you. That wasn't fantasy. That was your soul remembering where it belongs. This new home that's approaching, whether it's a physical space or an internal one, is not just a change of scenery. It's a return to something more true, more aligned, more you. It's the kind of place where your energy won't have to push so hard just to feel okay, where your rhythm will be matched, not resisted, where you'll wake up and feel not just rested, but rooted. For someone like you who values peace, who thrives in beauty, who needs stability, like others need air, this isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. You've spent years adapting to environments that weren't made for your frequency, environments where you had to be careful with your joy, cautious with your opinions, quiet with your needs. But your new space will not ask for that. It will welcome all of you, your softness, your strength, your steadiness, You're longing for beauty, for quiet mornings, for meaning. You won't feel the need to tiptoe anymore. You won't feel like you have to constantly earn your right to be seen, to be still, to be safe. This will be a space that matches you where your presence alone is enough, where you don't have to explain yourself. You just arrive and everything begins to feel right again. And once you arrive in that space, truly arrive, everything begins to shift, not with drama or sudden fireworks, but with quiet. Undeniable clarity. You'll feel it in the way your creativity begins to flow again. Not forced or scheduled, but natural, like breath. You'll find yourself more open, more willing to connect, more drawn to joy for no reason at all. And people will notice, not because you've changed overnight, but because the environment around you finally supports who you already are. Relationships that once felt strained will begin to soften or fall away, making room for deeper, more aligned connections. Projects you had put off or quietly abandoned will start to stir with life again. New ideas will come not from pressure, but from presence. Taurus, just like a plant that's been trying to grow in poor soil, you've done the best you could. But now, in richer ground, you'll begin to thrive in ways you didn't know were possible. That quiet passion you buried under responsibility, it will rise. That part of you that wanted more beauty, more depth, more soul in your daily life, it will be seen and it will be safe to stay. Because the truth is this, your regal essence doesn't suit mediocre environments. You were not born to be overlooked, to settle for good enough, or to constantly negotiate with your own needs. You were born to live in a space that honors your values, mirrors your beauty, and allows your strength to unfold without apology. You don't need permission to want more. You only need to trust that the more you've been quietly longing for has been longing for you. 2, and it's closer than you think. So, Taurus, if something inside you has been stirring something soft but persistent, telling you that where you are no longer feels like home, listen. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to force anything. You don't even need to know the exact destination yet. What matters is that your spirit is waking up, and it's not asking for chaos or adventure. It's asking for alignment. It's asking for peace that isn't temporary, beauty that isn't borrowed, a life that finally feels like your own. This next chapter isn't about abandoning your roots. It's about finding the soil that lets them grow deeper. It's about stepping into a space internally and externally that reflects who you've become, not who you had to be. You're not leaving because you're lost. You're moving because you've outgrown. And that's not something to mourn, it's something to honor. When you get there, Taurus, it will feel quiet at first, familiar, but not in the way you remember, in the way you recognize. The air will feel different. Your body will soften. The pressure to explain, to justify, to endure will dissolve. And in that stillness, you'll realize this is it. This is what you've been waiting for, even when you didn't have the words. So if this message reached you at the right time, trust that it wasn't by accident. Your new home, your real home, is already being prepared. And when you meet it, it won't feel like a change. It will feel like a return to the version of you that was never lost, only waiting for the right place to fully come alive. You don't have to rush. You just have to be willing. The rest will unfold gently, naturally, beautifully. And you'll look back one day and say, that was the moment it all began.